All right, welcome into John Talks Episode 2, Dodgers Dynasty. Going to talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers and their current organizational goal to establish a dynasty, one that is historical in the story of MLB itself. And that is the stated goal. Their manager, Dave Roberts, talks about it. Their front office talks about it. And it's a great goal. The goal that most sports teams don't even like to talk about, even if they're in a position to do it, because it's essentially the ultimate thing that a sports organization can do is establish a dynasty. And I suppose philosophically you have to ask yourself if you have to be aware that you're creating a dynasty in order to create one, for it to be a proper one. And in this case, the answer is yes, because the Dodgers are aware of it and they're making a run at it. Now, the reason I'm talking about it on John Talks is not only is it a really cool kind of case study to look at in life, but also, full disclosure, I'm sitting here in my Mookie Betts Los Angeles Dodgers home jersey and my LA Dodgers 2020 World Series hat that I got. And I had to buy it when it was it's the one that you get before the winners announced. So I had to put my bet on them for that series, which is played in Clayton Kershaw's backyard in his suburb of Dallas. Crazy. Different story. But so I'm not unbiased. I am a lifelong Dodgers fan. Born and raised in LA. And one of my favorite things to do as a kid was we were a Dodgers family. So it was me, my brother, and my sister mainly. Youngest sister came later, but she was technically my half sister, Tierney. So before the divorce, it was me, my brother Jameson, and my sister Courtney. And my dad was a huge Dodgers fan. Which is crazy because he grew up in San Francisco and he grew up a huge Giants fan. But when he switched cities, he's one of the rare people who switched over to being a Dodgers fan. And he did it successfully. So he raised us as a Dodgers family. So we went, Dodgers games were that was the professional sport that I went to most as a kid. Tons of Dodger games. Excuse me. Went to tons of Dodger games as a kid, and super fond memories starting the mid 80s. And then, so, I was sitting there watching Fernando Valenzuela play and Oral Hershiser and, Mike Marshall and just all those teams, Kirk Gibson era, all that. So lots of good memories. Bob Welch, Dave Stewart. I mean, I think I even saw Steve Howe pitch as a kid. Anyway, a lot of great memories. We would go to double-digit games per season, and I grew up as a baseball player. Did the whole thing, made all-star teams. I was good. I went to the Joe Torre baseball camp as a kid. I think it was in Encino. That was fun. Met Dale Murphy. That was cool. Met Bob Gibson at that camp. Got an autographed ball by the two of them. And yeah, so love baseball. My baseball career, I went, Little League All-Star kid, and then played in high school. I was good. Sophomore year, I was conference MVP, playing JV, and then starter varsity junior senior. And then when I went to West Point, I walked onto the JV team for 2 years. So I earned 2 NC2A letters playing baseball at West Point. Interesting side story, deserves its own talk, is that I played baseball. The home field at West Point is Doubleday Field because Abner Doubleday was a cadet at West Point when he invented the game of baseball at West Point, and they built the field there to commemorate the spot where the first game was played. So I got to play my home games at the spot where the first game of baseball was played by the inventor, which is pretty fun. So I was mainly a shortstop. I did some catching and playing second base too, and threw right, batted left. Solidly good, and lifelong baseball fan. Love it, love it, love it. I think it's just amazing sport in every way, and I love it, and I love attending it, and I love the strategy of it and how it goes. So, all that being said, I've been a lifelong Dodgers fan, and I've been through it, and we're in a position where it's true. Like we're on a platform, we're deep enough into this run where now we are tapping into the time-space continuum of baseball itself. And I say it through statistical analysis because we look at how many National League West championships we won. Well, we won 11 of the last 12. That's a good place to start for baseball. And the one we lost, the Giants won 107 games and we won 106. And if you go back just a few more seasons, we've won 13 out of the last 17 National League West crowns. Okay, so that's typically when you start analyzing sports dynasties, you begin by looking at, okay, how many times do they win their division? That's where you start. And so those numbers, like, I've looked in baseball. I don't think that I've seen a team that has won more divisions in the division era like that. The Braves in the 90s won a ton. And it's tough to go back to early baseball because they were just National League and American League, so they just win the pennant. So that's like a whole different thing. But this sort of division dominance I think it's unparalleled. I might be wrong, but it's either way, it's like it's up there with the greatest division dominance ever exhibited. Now, in that time, they also won 2 World Series. And quite frankly, they got cheated out of one against the Astros. Because the Astros completely cheated in that Game 6 where they were down 3-2 and Game 6 was in Houston, and they were just like, all of a sudden, they could just hit Kershaw's best curveball. They're just whacking home runs like friggin' every pitch. And then it turns out they were sign stealing, which was a scene steal, but that's the only reason they won that game. And then poor Darvish in Game 7, and they're stealing his stuff too. So super messed up what the Astros did. They should have been banned from the league for the following season. That was my brother's idea. I agree with it. Yeah, and they really screwed us. So the Dodgers probably should have won that third one. Now, the other World Series that they lost to the Red Sox, where the Red Sox also cheated, and just because the Astros were way worse, the Red Sox don't take that much heat because the Astros were like real bad about it. The Red Sox actually had a better team. That's the sad part because they were probably gonna beat us anyway. They were better and they were hotter, so they didn't need to cheat, but they did. So that should also be noted. So in this run of 11 out of 12 and 13 out of 17 NL West championships, 2 World Series, probably should have had 3, and like maybe even 4th. I mean, you'd already be talking Dynasty if they had 4 rings already in this run, but they do have 2, and that should not be diminished at all. And in that run, with the losses and the wins, as an organization and a fan base, we learned a lot. Now, this is important because I've also been a lifelong Lakers fan. And Lakers Nation's a real thing. And there is a championship mentality and there's a dynasty mentality. And it is, you got to do all the work to get there. You got to do the strategy. You got to be there, know what the game rhythms are, the season rhythms, which series matter, when to give your support, when to wish for things. There's a whole list of responsibilities. And other fans that have been parts of dynasties, they know exactly what I'm talking about. It actually takes a real fan commitment. Like, you have to care. You have to, like, you really do. I know it seems ridiculous, but you do. And a lot of time it works. And especially if you've made it work, if you've won titles, and your team, especially when your team acknowledges that the crowd's doing it, that strengthens it. And in this case, the Dodgers definitely have. The last World Series parade and press conference was off the chain. They were out of control. They were so happy because, like, this last team that won, it shouldn't have won. Out of all these Dodger teams the last 12, 15 years, this last one didn't look like the one that was going to do it. They really didn't. I mean, the starting pitching was just like disappeared, looked like D-Day. And Dave Roberts is some kind of genius who figured out a bullpen strategy that, like, never been done. Probably, I mean, could change a game if people just decided to, like, manage games like scattershot with all these bullpen guys. But honestly, we ended up having the best bullpen ever. That bullpen just carried us through, and Dave Roberts played like a chess master. I mean, we basically had like 2.5 starting pitchers, and one of which we didn't even know because Bueller was like all over the place, and then he got it together. So it was a wild ride. And obviously we had arguably the best offensive season in Major League history from Shohei Ohtani. And then the lineup was just ridiculous. But that team didn't look like it should have done it. And it was a pivotal point for the organization because the previous couple of years, big regular seasons and then first round exits. And it was starting to look like the Padres, who were basically like bitch ass little brothers, like in every way. Like, I think it's hilarious that this era of the LA San Diego rivalry, which it did turn out to be real, it really is them just having this inferiority complex. Like, if San Diego were to have an inferiority complex, which I don't think they do because they're basically a better place to live than LA and they know it. But if they were to have a sort of like city to city inferiority complex, it would look exactly like the Padres and Dodgers. So I think it's hilarious that it's manifested. And it was going to be a real downer if the Padres knocked us out again last year in the first round. It kind of would have been like demoralized the whole run and made people not feel good about any of the success. And there's just all the success that was happening. We're all being super hard on ourselves about it. So they pull out that Padres series, and I think most Dodgers fans, when we won that Padres series, we felt like, yeah, we might as well have won the World Series. Like, this is crazy. Like, I think most of us knew that was going to be the toughest series once we won it. And because it was just like, you know, Mets, whatever, Yankees, whatever. And which was good because that series made us revisit all our demons, because the NL West, to the NL West credit, none of the teams in the division quit. None of them tanked. None of them like said, "Oh, the Dodgers are super good again. Like, let's just like mail it in. Let's cut the payroll and like whatever, act like the Marlins, or you know, act like the A's are just like some joke of a team. Like, yeah, let's play our games in a spring training stadium and pay our roster $20 million, and then we'll just get mad at the Dodgers." Like, dude, nobody in the NL West did that. They all armed up. Everybody in the NL West decided they're going to play their best baseball and get their best dudes, and they did. And to their credit, none of them gave up. It's like they still aren't. They're still like, all the teams in the NL West are good. So it's not like we've been winning. It's not like we've been winning some division where everybody's, you know, tanking on us. Like, these guys they're all rocking and rolling too. And so it was good that we won that series and then we won that title, because that was gonna really, really screw us over in terms of Dynasty. That was the linchpin. We needed it. So now, as everybody on pretty much Earth knows, we've basically got a 10-year plan. It's called Shohei Ohtani. And so year one, success, got 9 years centered around him. And obviously it's him, it's Mookie Betts, it's Freddie Freeman, and on the pitching side, it's Ohtani, and then Yamamoto was, you know, like, now he's got 12 years left. Sasaki's going to be here for a while. Glasnow's here, and then we signed Blake Snell. Yeah, there's so many other starting pitchers that are coming back that have gone. They're like, it's crazy. Like, the team's stacked, and then they stacked out the bullpen. They got Scott and Yates, and the bullpen was already like stacked, even though the pitching staff actually has a ton of injuries. Like there's a bunch of guys starting on the IL, starting the season on the IL, but the staff is still ridiculously stacked. The lineup's crazy stacked. Well, you got Mookie Betts just like going over to shortstop, like no big thing. And you know what? He's probably gonna be, if he's not the best shortstop in the league, he's gonna be one of the best shortstops in the league. The guy's just that good. And that's a guy, Mookie Betts, because I'm wearing a Betts jersey right now. Mookie Betts is a guy, he could just as easily be starting like Ebbets Field. Like he's a real like Dodger. And I think that's another thing when guys like, you go, oh, that guy could like have been a Brooklyn Dodger for real. Mookie Betts is one of those guys. And so we're just stacked. It's crazy. We're just stacked across the board, every position pretty much. And if we're not, then they're just going to keep stacking it out because they figured out the front office. They figured it out. They figured out the financing. They figured out how to like crack the code on the financing. It's like Moneyball, but with like lots of money, right? Because Moneyball is about identifying the micro metrics in the game and the players and getting leverage money plays and all that. But then there's a whole different vision you get when you're like, yeah, okay, well, now we have unlimited capital and we have nothing but long-term vision. Like, yeah, 50, like think about how this is going to look 50 years from now. Think about the branding 100 years from now. Like if we do it now, right? And so all that factors in. Plus, they spent the last like 20 years. Dodgers always been great at developing pitching in the farm system. Position players hit or miss, but now they figured out both. And it's amazing. And it's great. I don't know who in the Dodgers history is credited with establishing the way that the pitching's developed. Because I know we've always had great pitchers going back, even back to Brooklyn. But the farm system has just always, as a Dodgers fan, has never been an issue. Like, oh yeah, who's the next who's the next ace or two that's in the farm system? Because it's always been there. And they all kind of pitch the same. They all have a good attitude and they know how to pitch. And somebody did it for the position players where somewhere around like, I don't know, it was like 2010, 2013. It was like the year after Max Muncy got here. The Dodgers, whoever the hitting coach was, they figured out how to hit home runs. Not just hit the ball and not just hit the ball far, but they actually figured out some kind of approach that they shared with the players that just allows them to hit home runs like it's not a big deal. Like, oh yeah, no, you just hit the ball over the fence. As opposed to like, yeah, dude, you hit a home run. Like they figured it out and they spread the word and the team's just been hitting a home run like gangbusters ever since. And then everybody got cool about the home runs. So it wasn't a big deal. This wasn't Canseco and McGuire on steroids, like, you know, making it seem like a heavy metal concert every time they hit a home run. It's just like, oh, all right, hit another home run, run around the bases. All right, hit another home run, run around the bases. Okay, this is cool. And it made it so that the strategizing in the game kind of like got different. And it helped evolve Dodgers baseball. So now we've developed this style of baseball that is Dodgers baseball. And it's really competent and it's really professional and it's fun and it's got moments of flash. But it's fundamentally sound and it's like right to the point, and it's about great pitching and hitting home runs and doing the fundamentals on defense correctly and crisply. And our defensive spirit never lets down. That's the other thing. I've never seen this Dodgers team broken. It just doesn't happen. I think a lot of that in this era is, you know, Mookie Betts, and then and then Freeman's like also Iron Man, and then also obviously Clayton Kershaw. So he doesn't get enough credit because he's been the leader for a long time. He's just real quiet, stoic dude, and also my favorite Dodgers pitcher, and he's amazing, like unbelievable. And so the organization's had this last 12 to 15 years of incredible success by most standards. And they're just using it as lessons to try to create this 10-year window where they just write new chapters in baseball mythology, essentially. Like win 8 or 9 out of 10. I mean, I think they're going to display a Roger Federer level of excellence in their play. And I think that's what's going to happen. They're just going to display excellence at that level for a full decade. And the results are going to be great and unpredictable. And it's going to inspire people throughout the ages. And it's also going to, I think, transform the league in a good way. I think it's going to make the league better in ways that we can't predict yet. Because the other part of this is that the Dodgers are also now Japan's team. Like, we played the Tokyo series against the Cubs, and it looked like a home game. Because why? It was a home game. You know? I mean, Otani, Sasaki, Yamamoto, and they all look like good dudes. And they're all amazing baseball players. They're basically like superheroes on the baseball diamond. And it's great. And then the Japanese vibe coming in is fantastic. And they love the game and they're great at it. And, you know, obviously it's going to be Pan-Asia because Asia loves all three of those dudes. I mean, obviously there's regional whatevers and, you know, but like for sports fans, for Asian sports fans, like the Dodgers that's it. Like, we're the number one team. And that's a lot of energy. And going back to this whole thing about when you're building the dynasty, you need all the energy, you need all the perspective of your fan base, because it's a long journey. Because now you're going, okay, you're talking 10 years. You're talking about, you want me to pay attention for like a 10-year trajectory. All right. And that's why they had to assemble this ridiculous super team, and they're probably just going to keep doing it. It'll seem more ridiculous. They'll probably just keep getting every position just all the time. It may just end up looking like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. I mean, I don't know why it doesn't. I mean, it probably does now to a lot of people, but I mean, you know, there's like a couple positions that you could just like even get even better people, like the top guy at the position. I mean, what if we end up having like, you know, we have 25 roster spots. What if we have like 15 of the top guys? I mean, maybe we do have 15 of the top guys at each position. It's pretty insane. And so the key to it is that we just got to display excellence and play well with a good attitude and not crush people, like win like champions, and just display the best character traits of baseball while we're enjoying it and trying to win all the freaking World Series, like win 10 in a row. Now, interestingly enough, it's been 25 years since there's been a repeat World Series winner. That was the Yankees. It's been 25 years. It's hard to do. Baseball has so many moving parts and pieces, and the best team doesn't always win. There's all kinds of things. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate all the things that the season throws at them. And also, you know, how does having a team this good affect regular season win totals? And is it going to affect it the same way? Because typically, if a team wins like a ton of games, like 110 plus, usually it does like take a lot of energy out of them, as opposed to teams that win like around 100 or like 95, because they have to deal with more media and they get hot and da 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 da. So, but did we build a big enough super team where they could win 110? I mean, they could win 120, 125 games, something crazy. And maybe it's not even that big a deal because they just have that much talent and they can handle it. It'll be interesting. You know, and baseball is a stoic game. And I think that's one of the appeals to adding this chapter to the MLB lore. It's ambitious and it's good. It's good for the game. It's good for the institution. And honestly, I think it's good for the world. Now that I'm thinking about it really for the first time, that we have, you know, three of the favorite guys from the Japanese national team on the team. a very unifying moment. And apropos to this, the Dodgers, because we did, obviously have Jackie Robinson break the color barrier with us. And so we have an organizational history of acting as a catalyst for civil harmony and integration and evolution in a peaceable manner. I think it's great. And probably the less said about it, the better, because usually when things are cool, it's better. But I think it's important to acknowledge as we take these steps to really try to write this team's place in baseball history, that those sorts of things are noted in the moment so that we can just more, with like less coefficient of drag, move in the march to history. So I think that's what I got for the Dodgers Dynasty. Obviously, I'm super biased, so there's like no apologies. No apologies about that. There's a ton of great stuff going on in the league in general. It's a bunch of great players. It's an entertaining league. I love it. And but I certainly hope I hope the Dodgers achieve this dynasty. I hope they set records and inspire people for generations to come. I love this team. I feel so good that my home team is my favorite team, is this team. Feels like a dream come true as a fan to have a historical team that's like super likable and awesome and just feels good in pretty much every way. So I'm really grateful for that, and I wish the Los Angeles Dodgers the best this season and in all the seasons to come. All right, everybody. Thanks.